So today we're going to be solving proportions and making predictions. So solving the proportions, before we looked at are two ratios proportionate if they're equivalent. Now we're going to have three pieces of information. We're going to be looking for the fourth piece of information by making them equivalent. So an automobile assembly line finishes 3 cars every 2 hours. So if we've got cars, 2 hours. 3 cars, 2 hours. So, want to know how long it'll take to finish 6 cars. Well, this is what's missing, is how many hours. And to find this out, because we know that this is proportional, if this is times 2, this needs to be times 2. And so that equals 4. And now we're going to look at 9 cars. So if we've got cars, 2 hours, 3 to 2, and we want to make 9 cars, that's times 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. So it takes 6 hours. And you want to go ahead and note this. When you find an unknown value in a proportion, you are solving the proportion. And that's what this is. This was unknown. And by setting it up and finding the scale factor and finding what makes these equivalent, we're solving the proportion. So today we're going to... Proportions can be solved by using equivalent fractions and the scale factor. So to solve this proportion, we would say, how many times does 7 go to 35? Times 5. So 4 times 5 is M equals 20. And M could be milkshakes. It may say there's 4 milkshakes for every 7 people. If there's 35 people, how many milkshakes would there be? And M just stands for milkshakes. Whenever you just see the numbers in absence of a word problem or an absence of labels, it's just asking you to make an equivalent. That's it. So here we go. Let's practice. So 12, how do you get from 12 to 4? You divide by 3. And so 15 divided by 3 is 5. So you can say y equals 5. And go ahead and pause and solve these real quick. You're either multiplying or dividing, and by the same number, the same scale factor on top as the bottom. So today we're going to be easy. You're just making equivalent fractions, like equivalent fractions, but these are ratios, and this is making it proportionate. Whenever one ratio is equal to another ratio, and it's by doing the scale factor. And so your answers are n equals 6, x equals 14, and z equals 5. So unit rates can be used to solve proportions. The Millers drove 105 miles on 3 gallons of gas. At this rate, how many gallons can they drive on 10 gallons of gas? Well, you're comparing miles to gallons. 105 to 3. And you want to get it to where it's equal to 10. Now I'm moving it over here because you can't go directly from 3 to 10. So you have to find a unit rate. You have to say how many times can 3 go into 105. And so divide by 3. And that's 35 per gallon. So now we've got the unit rate. This is getting it dividing to get it per gallon. And now we can go, okay, how do I get from 1 to 10? Times 10. 31 times 10 is 310. So the answer is on 10 gallons of gas, they can get 310 miles. And 3 average size apples contain 180 calories. So we've got apples, 2 calories. And 3 to 180. And how many average size apples contain 300 calories? So I'm going to put 300 over here because I can't go directly from 180 to 300. So I can get a unit rate. I can divide by 3 and get 1 and divide by 3 and get 60. So now I have to say one apple has 60 calories. How many apples have 300? And 6 goes into 30 times 5. So 60 into 300 is times 5. So this is times 5. And so that's 5. So the answer is 5 apples. Okay. Proportions can also be used to make predictions. If 8 of the 32 students in a health class prefer using gel toothpaste, use this ratio to predict how many would prefer using gel toothpaste in a school of 500 students. So I've got 8 to 32, and that's gel to students. Now I want to get to 500, and I can't go from 32 to 500. But if I divide by 8, so that's 1, and divide by 8, that's 4, and then I go, how do I get from 4 to 500? And so I have to go 500 divided by 4 is 125 times 125. So whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top times 125. And it's 125 students out of 500. So my answer is 125 students. Okay, there are 810 calories in 3 scoops of vanilla ice cream. About how many calories are there in 7 scoops of ice cream? And then if 15 out of 25 students go to bed before 10 p.m., predict how many go to bed before 10 p.m. in a school of 1,000 students. So go ahead and set up these ratios. See if you can come up with an answer. This one, you're going to have to do a unit rate. And this one, you can go from 25 to 1,000. And come up with your answers and then come back and check them. So today we're going to be solving. So here are the answers. So if you've got 810 calories in 3 scoops, there's 270 in 1 scoop. I did that by dividing. And then to get from 1 to 7 times 7 times 7. This one, I could go directly from 25 to 1,000 by knowing that that's times 40. So I had to divide that out to get times 40. 15 times 40 is 600. Okay, so read each question carefully, write the proportion, and solve for the unknown. Write the answer and the label in the blank. Okay, so a basketball team scored 12 points in the first 3 minutes. So we're comparing points, 2 minutes. 12 points, 3 minutes. At this rate, how many points is the team likely to score in 27 minutes? So I go to 27. Now how do I get from 3 to 27? Times 9. Okay? Times 9. And so I can set this up. 12 to 3 equals blank to 27. So, and this is points. So we'll just use a P. Times 9, and so that is 108. 12 times 9 is 108. And so the answer is 108 points. Okay, so go ahead and number your paper. Leave space for your proportions and for your answer and to show your work. But you're going to go from 2 to 10. And I'm going to do some with you and you're going to do some on your own. And then you're going to bring this piece of paper to class to go over it. Cindy is making costumes for the talent show. She used 6 meters of material to make 4 costumes. How many meters of material will she need to make 16 costumes? Go ahead and do that one. And then also do Billy's new truck traveled 160 miles on 10 gallons of gasoline. How many gallons will Billy need to travel 320 miles? Pause if you need to do these problems. Christy is ordering pizza for her birthday party. For the party, she is estimating she needs 2 pizzas for every guest. So we're comparing pizzas to guests. Based on this estimation, and that's 2 pizzas for 6 guests. Based on this estimation, predict how many pizzas she should order if there are 24 guests. Well, if I set this up, it's 2 to 6 equals pizzas over 24. And so times 4 times 4, so the answer is 8 pizzas. Then you solve this one. Will purchase 4 movie tickets for $22. How much will Will spend if he purchased 12 tickets? Ami can type 4 pages of a report in 9 minutes. At this rate, predict how many pages she can type in 36 minutes. So we're doing pages per minute. 4 to 9 and 36 minutes. So 36 is going to go down here. And go ahead and finish that and label your answer. Then number 7 is a challenge because it says the average person takes 7 breaths in 30 seconds. So that's breaths in seconds. And 7 breaths, 30 seconds. Based on this average, how many breaths would the average person take in 3 minutes? So how many seconds are in 3 minutes? And so 60 seconds in each minute, so 3 minutes would be 180 seconds. And then how do I get from 30 to 180 is times 6. So 7 times 6. So go ahead and finish this out. Write your proportion, write your answer, and label it. In his last basketball game, Jed made 7 out of 12 free throws. At this rate, how many free throws would Jed make if he shot 24 free throws? You can probably do this without even setting up a proportion, but I want you to go ahead and show your work, write the proportion, answer, and label. Pause it if you need to. Okay, so these last 2 questions I'm going to leave you with. And I would just want you to write down 9 and 10 and pick A, B, C, or D. Now, what I would recommend is that you try to do it without looking at the answers, see what you come up with, and then try to match what you come up with one of the answers. Don't get confused by all these different choices. So go ahead and pause and do the rest of this video, do the rest of these problems, and then take this back to class. So today we're going to be solving